The presence of the Lord in our lives will be the source of many great and wonderful things. Dear brothers and sisters, today's Gospel presents us with the incident of Jesus liberating two demoniacs by casting out the demons from them into a herd of swine which happened to be nearby. This herd of pigs then rushed off into the lake and drowned themselves. When the people of that place heard of this incident, as narrated by the swineherds, they implored Jesus to leave their neighbourhood. Perhaps the most strange happening in this episode is the one narrated last, that is, the people's response to this incident. During his public ministry, Jesus was rejected in many places on many different grounds, either because he did not perform enough signs and wonders, or because of his origin and background, or because of his tough and radical teachings, and so on. In this instance, we see Jesus being rejected because of the good that he did. Dear brothers and sisters, whenever we do good to others, we run the risk of having to pay the cost for having done so. It is often easier to ignore the sufferings of others than to reach out and extend a helping hand, because we might often be misunderstood. We see this very clearly in the life of Jesus himself, who was hounded by the Pharisees and scribes over all the good work that he was doing. His miracles, his teachings, his lifestyle, and so on. In John chapter 10 verse 32, Jesus tells the angry Jews, "I have shown you many good works from the Father. For which of these do you stone me?" The lot of Jesus is very often our own as we follow in his footsteps. Jesus himself tells us in Matthew chapter 10 verse 25, "If they have called the master of the house Beelzebul, how much more will they malign those of his household?" We ought to pray for the grace to continue to do good even in the face of much misunderstanding. There is a well-known prayer attributed to Saint Francis of Assisi, which contains this line, "O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love." Today's Gospel also invites us to search our conscience in order to discern our response to the works of God in our lives. Have we often been like those town people who found the presence of God to be unwanted, interfering, demanding, or burdensome? Do we often hope that God does not intervene too much in our lives and ask much of us? Let us remember that the presence of the Lord in our lives will be the source of great and wonderful things if only we are willing to accept Him. The Lord tells us in the book of Revelations, chapter 3, verse 20, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and will dine with him, and he with me."